Fall Sports Talk. Mark Stopa. We're here tonight with the Foxborough High School volleyball players and the coach, and we're going to do a little sports talk involving volleyball. I'm pleased to have Coach Dan Damisch join us here today, as well as 3 of the 4 captains from the volleyball team, Brittany Stopa, Samantha Briggs, and Michelle Cameron. The fourth senior from the team is Jenna Weiskircher, and she couldn't be with us tonight. Coach Damisch, welcome.
Well, thanks for having us.
How long have you been the coach of the Foxborough team?
This is my 3rd year, and I also started the program 10 years ago, and I did it for 4 years. So actually, it's my 7th year.
That's excellent. And obviously, I've been involved over the last few years with my eldest daughter, Brittany Stopa, and actually, I'm honored this year. I've got 3 daughters in your program, so we take up quite a position in there with both Courtney and Kendall playing as well. Let's talk a little bit about how far the team has come over the last 3 years, because my observations, it's just been growing by leaps and bounds, and the interest and enthusiasm is a lot of fun to watch.
Right.
What do you think about that?
Well, 3 years ago when I came back here and I saw where the program was, I think one key word I had was patience. And I had to be very patient because the kids needed to be taught, and they needed to learn about not only how to play volleyball, but to learn about volleyball itself. Great kids, and these kids are all sophomores when I got here. And during the last 2 years, I was telling you earlier, I've never had a team improve so much in 3 years of just coaching the kids, and that's all attributed to the kids' hard work. 3 years ago, if we had a rally going, it wouldn't be very long, and we couldn't hit too many kills, spike. But now, we have potential to be a pretty good team. We haven't done anything yet, but as far as overall, we've learned how to. I think we've turned it from almost like an intramural sport to a varsity sport.
Well, that was my observation. Again, going back to our conversation earlier, you can put a full squad of athletes on the floor, and what a difference that makes. And I remember working with Brittany when she showed an interest when she was going into her sophomore year into playing. She went to camps, learned the fundamentals, and got technically proficient, and then learned the sport.
Right.
And you've had, in the past few years, you've had kids who've played the sport, didn't necessarily have the technical proficiency. Now, in my observations, you're kind of bringing all that together.
Yes, and I'm a big believer, the kids have played other sports their whole life, and they know the facts and everything about the other sports, but like when I got here 3 years ago, a lot of the kids didn't know much about volleyball, like the height of the net and how wide the court was. And those, not that they're the most important things, but you should know them. And
sure,
the kids really, it's been exciting. It's been, I have to say, it's never been a dull moment. They've been a great bunch of kids, and although our won-loss record has never been great, the improvement has been phenomenal, and I'm really looking forward to this year, and I'm excited to see how they're going to really come on and play in a match.
Well, I know the difference between last year and the year prior to that was pretty considerable. You struggled to be competitive that first year, and then last year you were competitive in pretty much every match. And I even made the comment, if some of the matches, some of the games had gone to 18 points as opposed to 25, you probably would have had a different one-loss record. So that's fun to watch. What do you have for setting goals for this season? What do you think?
Well, it's funny because I just talked to the team about goals, and I never ever, no matter what sport I'm coaching, I'll never set a goal to win a league title. I'll never set a goal to make the tournament. My goal is, first of all, make sure the kids learn how to play the sport. I treat it almost like they're in a classroom, but also learn how to fall in love with the sport, have a passion for the sport. And then second, of improve every single day. And I think they both sort of go hand in hand. If you have a passion for something, you're going to improve. So my number one goal is to get better every single second on the court. So the next day you come back better. And then number 2 goal is to communicate and play as a team. And, volleyball is one of the, if you don't play as a team, you can have the best players, but communication and playing as a team. And then 3, I want it to be a really great experience for the kids.
And that's really what it's all about. They're there to have fun, and I've always suggested to my daughters it's a lot more fun to have success, albeit by winning, but that takes time and the patience you were talking about, and getting good at what you love to do. And that's fun to see that you have so many kids that are passionate for it. And with tryouts just concluding, you had a lot of numbers of kids coming out come out for the sport, which is very encouraging as well.
Yeah, we actually had to unfortunately cut some kids, but as the program gets better, the talent level goes up and the expectations go up, and it is a varsity and junior varsity sport, so we're heading in the right direction, I think.
But even for the kids who didn't make it this year, that doesn't mean that they don't have opportunities going forward. They have opportunities to go out and play juniors and go to camps and get involved and make themselves better so that they can make the team.
Right, and that's how you get better. And volleyball is the type of sport you can get better right in your backyard, hitting against your garage or hitting with your parents or your friends. But yeah, it's something I would encourage everybody. If they didn't make it, to keep trying out. But the kids that made it, there's expectations for them too.
Now, for some of the people that might not know about the volleyball team at the school, we field a JV team and a varsity team, right?
Yes.
And both play in the Hockomock League.
Yes.
And do you have games that are out of conference as well?
Yeah, we still just joined our league as a volleyball team. So every team in the Hockomock League, every school has a team for the first time this year. So it's kind of exciting. So that's 9 teams minus us, so there'll be 8 games. I mean, play everybody twice, that's 16 games. So we'll have 2 non-league opponents, one versus Coyle Cassidy twice and one versus Hopedale.
Actually, you start off against Coyle Cassidy, right?
Coyle Cassidy first at Coyle Cassidy, and then Hopedale second.
Excellent. Is there any plan for the future to perhaps add a freshman team or something like that?
It's always a possibility. With the way the numbers are going up, the major concern on that is a lot of other teams don't have freshman teams right now. But yeah, we'd like to try to get more kids involved. Right now we're at about 25 between the two because, we really can't play more than 10 to 12 a game.
And how many players on the floor at one time?
6 players on the floor at one time.
So you get those kind of numbers. It's hard to get people rotating into the game and getting time to participate for sure. Well, let's turn to the ladies that are here. Again, we have Brittany Stopa, Sam Briggs, and Michelle Cameron. And Sam, let's start with you. How long have you been playing volleyball?
This will be my 4th year.
And I take it you enjoy it?
Yeah, very much.
That's very good. Now, we know that volleyball is not your only sport. What other sports do you participate in?
I play basketball and did track last year, but...
What did you do in track?
Javelin.
Excellent. I actually did that a little bit when I was in high school. It's a fun sport. It's difficult to learn, get those steps down. You must do things other than playing sports. I know you're a very good student. What other kind of activities are you involved with at the school?
Well, all of us are in NHS, National Honor Society, so we're all part of that, and I do student council with Brittany and peer leadership and a few other things like community service activities. We just did Pennies from Heaven, which was for fibroneuromatosis, which is a couple of our friends had cousins with it, so it was a good cause.
That's great.
Yeah.
Actually, Brittany and I have had the pleasure of talking to some college coaches recently, and they seem to be very enthusiastic in mentioning that the highest grade point average for the sporting teams in the colleges is generally the volleyball players. I think that's a wonderful honor. How about you, Michelle? How long have you been playing?
4 years as well. Started as a freshman.
And
love the sport.
I sense that from watching you play. What position do you play?
I'm the setter.
And Sam, what position do you play?
A hitter.
Okay. And you've been a setter all 4 years?
Yep. I was a backup setter my freshman year, but since sophomore year I've been the setter.
And you earned All-Star, Hockomock All-Star honors last year, I do recall.
Yep.
Congratulations. That's
Thank
terrific. You. And you play other sports as well?
Yep. I play basketball. I did track before as well. So.
Excellent. And how about you with other activities?
Like Sam said, the 4 of us are in NHS, in peer leadership, best buddies, history club, community service as well. So we do a lot of the same things, yeah.
Coach, you've got some very well-rounded young ladies involved there. And I'll turn to Brittany, obviously. I know the subject matter here, but I'll ask the question anyhow. You've been playing now 3 years.
Yeah, I started my sophomore year because I played soccer my freshman year. Then I switched to volleyball, and I loved it. So
the passion shows, and you're enthusiastic about this coming season?
Yeah, definitely.
And what are the things are you involved with? What are the sports, first of all?
Basketball and tennis. I'm going to be captain of tennis as well.
Okay. And how about other activities at the school?
There's a lot. Just to name a few, I'm president of Best Buddies, president of Peer Leadership. I'm on the math team, the history club, student council, SURSAC, which is related to student council. I'm involved in a lot of things at the school.
Yes, we know that. So, girls, what do you think about the upcoming season? Well, actually, before we get to that, let's talk about the transitions that you've seen since, your first year as freshman and your first year as a sophomore. What do you think about how far the team has come as a team at the high school? What do you think, Sam?
It's every year for tryouts. It's just really exciting to see how many new girls are coming up. And I remember our freshman year, there weren't too many. I'm used to basketball tryouts where you see all these girls up. There's 40, 50 trying out for 12 spots maybe, and it was just
the
20.
Three of us, I think.
Yeah,
our freshman year.
the three of us, and
Wow.
that was it. And so seeing this year there were so many people and we had to make cuts. I thought that was exciting. And
Well,
so,
actually, while it's disappointing to
Yeah.
have to, I've coached for many years, as you know, Coach, and you hate having to cut somebody from the team, but it also, there's the positive to it is that you've got now more enthusiasm and more people interested in playing, and that's what comes with it. It's just, there's only a certain number of spots, and it's good to have competition for the spots. So, yeah, that's terrific. And as Coach was saying, maybe the records weren't there to be had, win-loss kind of records. But even from the very first year that I started watching Brittany's sophomore year, you could see the passion and enthusiasm, and you had a lot of fun playing, and you can see the teamwork and camaraderie. That's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
What have been your observations?
I
Michelle?
really feel like this is the year. We're all really excited to be here. There's good chemistry on the team, definitely. We've been playing together for so long now. Jenna, myself, Sam, we've been playing since freshmen. Brittany and I were on the same juniors team, so we know each other's strengths and weaknesses, so I know what kind of sets Brittany likes, I know what kind of sets Sam likes, we know our potential, everyone else's potential. We're just, I don't know, I think this is going to be a good year. We play well together.
Well, that's good. I'm as a parent and just as somebody who likes to watch the game, I'm looking forward to the year. I think that your observations are spot on. It's a very exciting prospect for what can happen, and it's a matter of going out and doing it, as Coach has said. We haven't done anything yet, but the potential is there. How about you, Britt? 3 years now on the team?
Well, I think that the program's definitely come a long way, and now we have girls trying out for the team that have been playing in the off-season. They play juniors league, they go to summer camps, they've been doing clinics, they've been learning how to play, whereas in the past it was kind of just we would learn at tryouts and through the season, but that's not really how a varsity sport should be. So it's really encouraging that even though we don't have a feeder program in our town, people are still getting out there and learning about the sport earlier.
Well, for some young ladies who might be watching this program and wondering about playing volleyball when she gets to high school, we've made some reference to some programs. Maybe we should clarify what those are. You guys have talked about juniors. What is that?
It's like a club team just to play in the off season. It's competitive.
It's kind of similar to an AAU team.
Right, yeah.
Okay. And Coach, they really focus on teaching fundamentals in these junior programs, is my understanding.
Yes, and the neat part about it is you get to play with kids from other towns also that you compete against. It's a lot like AAU basketball. You have your practices, and then you play in tournaments. Not as high pressure as playing a varsity match, which is the good part about it. But you can play different positions, and you get to be coached by somebody else, and you get to play with other kids.
See different styles too.
Right, and there's very good players you're playing with, and it's always neat to see how other kids are doing and how other coaches coach you.
And so we're not scaring away the young player who has no experience from saying, well, I just can't go in and play AAU ball. Most of these clubs have programs to help the kids who've never even touched a volleyball before.
Yes, absolutely.
I know that a couple of my daughters were involved with the Smash volleyball program. I guess that's in
Newton, I believe.
Newton,
Yep.
right, at the Newton North High School. And having gone there, I can tell you from watching some of them, there were a lot of kids there who probably couldn't identify a volleyball with 3 chances. But they were all learning, and those kids will then move forward. What other opportunities are there for kids to learn the game?
Well, I've always stressed, today's athlete has it so much easier than when I was growing up. You have the computer, you have videos online, you have Google search. Just watching volleyball and then going out and practicing it, and getting a calendar and charting what you need to do, practicing your serve, hitting against the garage. I mean, basically, with the invention of the computer, all you have to do is punch in anything you want to do. Volleyball training, plyometrics, strength training, agility, all of those. So I think the best thing to do is a combination of everything,
Certainly.
The more you watch, the better you watch. It's sort of like if you ever golf, you watch professional golfers, seem to golf better the next time after watching it.
I've always suggested to my kids, and even the kids I've coached in various sports, it's just watching somebody who does it well will teach you something.
Right.
And same thing as when I was growing up trying to learn different sports. It was the only way to learn. You had to go watch it and then try to figure out how they did that. And now it's so much easier. Punch it in on the computer, and instantly you've got some of the best coaches everywhere giving you instruction as to how you're supposed to do one particular thing or another. And the concept of kids going to camp. When I was a kid, I might have known one person that went to a camp during our entire childhood, because there weren't many, and they were very, very special for very, very special athletes, and that was it. Now, there's so many opportunities. Brittany, do you know anything about camps this summer?
Yeah, I was just going to say, they teach the fundamentals. Jenna and I went to a camp the summer before freshman year. That's how we learned how to play. And we made varsity, and we, as a team, we did Yukon camp. I did Bentley camp. Brittany's done a bunch of other camps. I think those definitely help for girls who want to play in the future.
Well, I know that as soon as Brittany had expressed an interest in it, I said, well, I don't know enough about it that I can help you much, but let's go find some people that do. And we, the first year,
I went to Bentley camp. I went to Bentley after that. And then this year I went to a camp at Brown, a Nike camp at Endicott, and the team camp at Yukon.
I did a little research, albeit on the internet, to find the Bentley camp, but in hindsight, what an incredible camp that was. There were coaches from all over the country, and they really spent an awful lot of time. And to be candid, Brittany saw it as an opportunity, went early for every session, stayed late at every session to try to find somebody to help her do something better. And it really gave her a good jump start, so that when she hit your program, even though she knew nothing about actually playing the game, she had a lot of those fundamentals ready. And that first year was fun, watching her develop, because it was pretty quick because she had the fundamentals. I really enjoyed that, and having coached as well, I'm sure from your side that had to be fun to watch as well.
It's been fun watching all of them develop, really. And the 4 seniors, I didn't have them as freshmen, but it's like my first freshman class.
Sure.
And I tell you, all 4 of them have great role models for the program.
They're incredible kids.
And all 4 have just been great leaders, and all 4 have been vastly improved every year, after every practice. And I'm excited. They're great kids.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about some of the positions on the floor, because we've made reference to a setter, and we identified Sam as a hitter and Michelle's a setter. And Brittany, what position is your favorite on the floor?
Hitter, most specifically an outside hitter.
And how does that differ from a regular hitter?
Well, there's 3 hitting positions. There's outside hitter, middle, well, they call it middle blocker because they do a lot of blocking when they're a hitter, and then right side hitter, which kind of substitutes for the setter if the setter is out of the play.
Okay. And what's a hitter do, Sam? Don't tell me you hit the ball.
You try to spike it, hit as hard as you can. I don't know, spiking is always a really good feeling, so as much as you can do with that, I guess, is
All
great.
right, well, what is spiking?
It's
Ball's
when-
above the net.
and you hit it down, and it hits the ground like close. I don't know.
And I'm sure the coach would prefer that you hit the ball down vigorously,
Yes.
as short as possible to the floor, so it has very little opportunity for the other team to dig it and send it and set it up again, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And as just as a parent understand, I recall myself saying, "Oh, you have to hit it harder than that," because obviously, when you watch the Olympics or the colleges on television, a lot to watch as well. Some of them, they really wind up and hit the ball, and I'm always amazed when somebody's able to dig it on the other side. Now, I think it's because they're in the right position, because they kind of know where the spike is going to go. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a matter of teamwork. You have to trust your teammate. In order to play defense, it starts with the blockers, And it starts with the person guarding the angle, person guarding the line, and then covering the drop shots or the dink shots.
Certainly, in watching the game, it's not about just where the ball is, because if you're in control of the play, Michelle, you're a focal part of controlling the play because you set the ball, you decide where our scoring opportunity is going to come from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I see lots of movement on the floor, and you can tell, watching our team and watching some other teams, pretty early on in the transaction, who understands the game and who doesn't. And I'm impressed over the last couple of years, because that's the biggest difference that I've seen. Aside from the individual skills, the biggest difference is you see teamwork on the floor, people rotating the position, and even the parents are becoming more educated because they'll see when somebody's out of position.
Right.
And that's fun to watch as well. So what's the primary responsibility of a setter?
Well, I always get the second ball. The ball will come over, someone will pass it up to me. It's a pass over your head, like shaped hands like that, and I set it to one of the hitters, either Brittany, Sam, or also back row, and they hit it over the net. But
And the idea is to set it high enough so that they can then jump in the air and get that kill or that spike that hits vigorously to the other side, right?
Yep, and we've been working on different kinds of sets lately, so
Good.
we're getting more advanced as a team.
Back sets?
Yeah, those two.
And
Different heights, though. Different heights.
Oh, I
different,
see.
Yep,
Oh,
different spots.
If you set it lower, you can sometimes get a quicker hit on it
Yeah.
and kind
Quicker
of surprise
attack,
the other
right.
team?
Yep.
Okay. See, I pay attention. It's fun. It's actually funny. The parents, a couple of years ago, we're sitting in the stands, and very few people knew anything about volleyball. I mean, we'd all watched volleyball. We didn't know anything about the rules, and we couldn't even guess as to the height of the net or the size of the floor. But it's funny because we're sitting up there, and you figure things out. And obviously, I pay attention, and we were able to figure out some of the rules, and we commiserate in the stands. What was that about? And can usually figure it out. What's an outside hitter do?
Well, an outside hitter is sometimes called a strong side hitter because you have a lot of different angles that you can go with the ball when you're hitting it.
Which side of the floor? Facing the net, which side of the floor?
For a right-handed hitter, it's on the left side of the court. For a left-handed hitter, it's easier to hit on the right side of the court. And I don't know, Michelle sets it, and I just hit it down onto the other side of the net. Yeah.
Right. So having the kids work on their ability to leap vertically, very important. And
A lot of that has to be done in the off season, but the most important part is the footwork. And 3 years ago when I started, we didn't even try half the stuff that that other teams tried. And now this year, here's the first year that I can actually have different heights, different angles. A strong side hitter is usually, your right-handed hitter who hits from that. Your middle hitter is usually your best blocker, and then we're very fortunate we have a lefty, Leah Tacey, who's going to be able to play the right-hand side.
yeah,
And then the setter does what she's supposed to do, sets up her teammates. And
Right.
it can be back row. And we have one other position called the libero that Jenna plays, and that means free. And basically, she can go in and doesn't count as a sub. She can go in anybody in the back row.
now, are you restricted on how many subs you can have in a
Yes.
particular game?
Yeah, 18 a game.
18 a game. Okay,
I
and
think they might have cut it to 15, but yeah, 18.
okay.
Yeah.
Now the whole, is it a match? The whole thing is called a match, and then you have sets, just like tennis.
Right.
Okay, so
Games. Games.
Oh, they're
call them.
games.
Games.
Okay,
Yes.
I noticed in the Olympics they were calling them sets, but for our purposes, they're games.
Games or sets, but
Okay.
basically games that come. Yeah.
And it's the best out of 3.
Best out of 5.
Best out of 5. That's right. Best out of 5, and it's 4 games potentially to 25, and then the last one goes to
To 15.
15. Why did they cut that last one? I've always been interested.
It always baffles me. They even cut it in the Olympics.
Yeah.
And to me, it's the most important game. It should be as long,
Sure.
time-wise, and they just time restraints. I guess doesn't make any sense to me. The rules always baffle me.
Now, I know that I embarrassed myself in front of my daughters when I talked about the poles that stick up from the net.
The antennas, yeah.
I call them barbershop poles because that's what they look like.
Yeah.
And I got these looks that you wouldn't have liked it. They're called antenna.
Yes.
Okay, then I know that if the ball touches that, it's out.
It's an out of bounds.
Out of
It's
bounds,
rather
okay.
than having it visible, they have the antenna come up.
Kind of
It
like
helps
a pesky pole in reverse because
Right.
that's fair ball.
They basically did help the referees and also help the players know where the court is.
Right.
Lines up with the sidelines.
I see. Okay, so we have hitters, we have setter, So we've got frontline players, which are your hitter and middle, 2 hitters and middle blocker, and then you have your setter, and then you have 2 backline
Yeah,
players.
sometimes 2, sometimes 3, depending where the setter is. We use our setter as a defensive player too, which most
Okay.
teams do. So we're very fortunate. You know, usually the taller kids are your best hitters. Very
Right.
unusual to have a 5'5" kid. In the past, we've had to have 5'5" kids hit. But you know, Samantha's a hitter, Brittany's a hitter. When they rotate to the back row, they're both very good servers. And last year they had to play a lot of back row. You know, they're not bad in the back row, but the back row seems to be more of a spot for a smaller, quicker kid because they're lower to the ground.
Well, there's a lot of plays that those digs will come from the ground.
But it's harder for a 6-footer to get down and to dig a ball than it is
Sure.
for a 5'6", 5'5". But you know, usually what happens is we'll sub the back row defensive players in for the front row attackers, hitters when they come in the back row, and vice versa.
Gives you an opportunity to have more kids in the game, but also, as you pointed out, having some of those more defensive
Right.
kids covering the back row, because getting that you can't. I know the sequence is bump, set, kill.
Yep.
In the first, the bump isn't always a nice easy bump. Sometimes it's a dive to the floor, get your arms under the ball,
Right.
dig to save it, so somebody that can set it up, or even if they have to, just bump it over the net.
But serve receive is the most important. You know, when I first started, we used to have 5 people to return the serve.
Yeah.
And then last year, I got brave enough to try 3, and it worked out great. You know, 3 cover 3 sections, and that way the hitters can get ready. So that's how far they've come.
Yeah.
Some teams actually use 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Very unusual for high school, though. We played one team that did use 2
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah, that is part of the whole transition and the advancement of the team. A couple of years ago, it was, can we manage to bump the ball over the net?
Right.
And nobody was getting elevation. Really, nothing looked like it was a kill. And then last year, we started to see some pretty good swats at the ball to try to kill it. And I guess you touched on for a second there the serving. Yeah, all 4 of the seniors are very good servers,
Yes.
and by my observation. But you and I have talked before. That's really one of the keys to get a team advancing, is to get that serve percentage up. And what sort of a percentage are we looking for? I know 100% would be great, but realistically, what are we looking for?
You'd have to be in the low 90s to have a successful team. You know, 9 out of 10. I mean, 8 out of 10 at the high school level is not bad. In my opinion, there's no reason why a high school kid can't get 90 to 95% in.
Right.
So they practice it, and once they get the form down, if you teach them the right way to do it, it's a matter of just practicing. And you know, we take many serves every day, and it's a matter of confidence. And
Sure.
you just have to get in the zone and keep everybody out, get the crowd out of it, and serve the same way every point. You know, there's a lot of pressure.
They all have the physical ability to do everything that you're asking of them. And the difference between success and failure, quite honestly, is whether they have the focus mentally. And we see that with all kinds of high school sports. Can they focus on getting that particular thing done? When it's an important serve, don't think of it as an important serve. Focus on doing the right thing that you need to do at that moment.
Right. You have to be competitive, and you have to come in with a competitive attitude. And I like to stress in practice, you know, if you're not going to be able to handle the pressure in practice, you're not going to be able to handle the match. So we try to, you know, step up the intensity in practice. Quite honestly, the first 2 years, the intensity was good, but it wasn't great. This year, the intensity has been fantastic, and the kids want to learn. I don't want them to come in and, you know, not have any fun at all, but part of the fun is preparing for the match and the practices. But you know, if you come in and you're joking around, you know, key point of a match, you're not going to win that point.
Well, and I think your current crop of players is very competitive. I know basically all these kids, and they all understand that it's a fun sport, but it's an awful lot more fun when you're actually winning and you're beating teams. And to see that kind of enthusiasm and excitement is a lot of fun from a parent in the stands. And some of the parents, and I'm sure they were slightly embarrassed by it, but we made a lot of noise at some of those matches last year. And we'll hopefully be able to do the same thing this coming year. So girls, what do you think? Is the competitive nature of the team there? Are we wanting to win?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I see that obviously with the 3 of you and Jenna, who I know very well. I liked what I heard tonight about coming together as a team. Everybody's kind of thinking the same kinds of things. That'll make for a very exciting season. Have you guys set any personal goals for the season?
I know Coach doesn't want to, set goals to playoffs or anything like that, but I don't know. We've never been there as a team, and I don't know. I thought that would be great to make it this year. It's one of my personal goals. I know it's most of the girls' goals on the team to make it there.
Well, that's an exciting goal. That would be excellent to see, and as I'm sure the coach has told you and will remind you, it happens one point at a time, doesn't it? And,
Yeah.
And if we work hard and do everything as a team, all those kinds of success type goals will come all by themselves. Because I tend to agree with you that you can't say, well, we want to go do this, because there's so many things that have to happen, and quite frankly, some of it's a little luck. You got to be on against a team that you're going to have a tough time competing against, and get that win that you didn't otherwise expect to have,
Right.
and that'll mean a lot for the program and for all you girls, and your parents must all be proud. I know I'm proud of my girls. You guys have done an incredible job in high school. Here you are entering into your senior year, and you have all these exciting things going on, both on the courts and fields for the various sports, but all the other organizations that you're involved with in school, and it's terrific. I'm proud of you. I've coached most of you on one thing or another over the years, so it's fun watching you grow up, and I know, Coach, you must feel the same way, even just over the last few years, watching them grow, not just as players, but
Right.
as kids. They're wonderful young ladies.
Yeah, that's one of the great parts about coaching is you get to see the kids mature, not only
Yeah.
physically, but grow up and become young adults.
And they do seem to grow up pretty quickly.
Too fast.
Yes.
Too fast.
I know that from personal knowledge. Well, ladies and Coach.
Can I just mention
yeah,
the
go
other
right
kids
ahead.
on the team? Would you
Oh, yeah,
guys-
please. I'm sorry, I didn't do that.
You girls want to mention the other kids on the team?
Go ahead,
seven
Coach.
sophomores?
You brought it
Yeah.
Allie Smiley, she has the potential to start maybe this year. I think she's good in every position, actually. I think she could be a backup setter. She can hit in the back row, but she mostly plays back row. We have Leah Tacey, who's our lefty, who is our weak side. Who else?
Katie Burke.
Katie Burke, yep, she's back row. All of our back row players can actually hit the back row attacks.
Oh, excellent.
Nikki Camo.
Megan Gallagher, Nikki Camo. We have Julie Maddie. She's in the front row, and also most of these players have played last year, and they've really improved. Kayleen Wall, she played at Fian last year, but she's with us this year.
Super.
And Erin Johnson
Erin
is the only
Johnson.
junior. The other
She's
seven
Yeah.
were sophomores.
Oh, wow.
And,
So 4 seniors, 1 junior, and 7 sophomores.
yes. Yeah, and as a coach, I was just commenting today, to a friend of mine that it's a good luxury for me to have because all 12 kids can play.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think I can play all 12 every match. They might have to go down and play some JVs, but the 11 and 12 players on our team can all play, and our scrimmages have been very good in practice.
That's excellent. Well, and that was kind of what I meant with my comment earlier, is that your overall athleticism of the team has risen, and you can constantly put 6 players on the floor. That's very comforting as a coach, and
Yes.
it's really exciting for the team and the prospect for their success for the season. How about on the JV team? You have a mixture of freshmen and sophomores there?
Sophomores and a couple juniors.
couple
Some
juniors as
kids
well.
new to the sport who are going to pick it up. But and Sue Donovan is the assistant coach. And she was here before me. She's done a great job with the JV team, and that's the hardest job in the world. She has to teach them,
Yeah.
Fundamentals and get them to
The
serve
whole
over.
package.
The whole package.
Yeah.
But she's very good at it. And the JV level, you have 2 of your daughters down there.
Yes,
we
I
have
do.
some juniors. We have Rebecca Creighton. We have 2 6-footers down there, and your daughter and Rebecca. We have a couple of juniors that came out this year.
That's
Kerry
excellent.
Cunningham and Katie Zielinski. We're good athletes, so we're starting to attract, some other athletes from other sports to come over and start to play.
Well, we were
Yeah.
talking earlier, in small school,
Mm-hmm.
and there are a finite number of the athletes that can play the various sports, and there's so many opportunities. But it's a good sign of success when you start to attract those athletes from other sports to come over and participate, or athletes who might not otherwise play this season in any sport decide that they're going to take it up because they see the success that you're having,
Right.
and want to be involved with that kind of a thing. That's terrific. Thank you for bringing that. I had forgotten all about
That's okay.
adding. No, that's good teamwork, and that's what it's all about. Well, again, ladies, congratulations on everything you've done so far. Looking forward to a successful and a fun season this year. I wish you the best of luck. And Coach, thank you so much for joining us today and presenting these ladies and your program in such a great way. And you've done a terrific job with the program. And as one of the parents, I can tell you that we're very impressed. And we're very
Thank
pleased
you.
with what
I
we've seen.
appreciate
And it's a lot of fun to watch.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And that's it for a volleyball talk on our fall sports talk for 2008. Again, I'm Mark Stopa, and thanks again to Coach Damish and Michelle Cameron, Sam Briggs, and Brittany Stopa for joining us today.